it appears that former President Barack Obama did not have any faith in Kamala Harris or her ability to defeat Donald Trump and had worked against her. Mm. Apparently, working behind the scenes to try to set up a mini primary after then President Joe Biden dropped out of the race. So now this is according to a new book titled Fight Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House. Okay. NBC political reporter Jonathan Allen, who co-authored the book with the Hill senior correspondent Amie Parnes, recently went on MSNBC's Morning Joe to say that sources told them that Obama, quote, didn't think that she was the best choice for Democrats and had lobbied for an open convention instead. Interesting. So now, here's what they said. This is Jonathan Allen. So President Obama absolutely did not think that Joe Biden should continue. Okay, good. According to our sources close to President Obama. And he also didn't want Kamala Harris to be this replacement for Biden. He didn't think that she was the best choice for Democrats. And he worked really behind the scenes for a long time to try to have a mini primary or an open convention or mini primary leading to an open convention. He did not have faith in her ability to win the election. So, and as it turned out, she didn't win, but he was really working against her. Now, look, that explains some things. Okay. Explains a lot of things. Like why he waited about 5 days after the baton was handed to her to actually put out an endorsement. So that said, Obama had set up a phone call with Congressman Jim Clyburn, okay, from South Carolina. That's on the day that Biden handed off the baton to Harris. And now Obama had set up this call with Clyburn for about 5:30 that afternoon. Apparently, Clyburn thought to himself, "This guy is going to try to rope me into the open convention thing. I better get my endorsement of Harris out there fast." So this is a short conversation. And when Harris talked to Obama on the day that Biden handed off to her, Obama was unwilling to give his endorsement then. And again, as I mentioned, it took about 5 days for that endorsement to come. So now look, this is actually really interesting because it shows you like the power dynamics in the Democratic Party. President Obama had a lot of influence in that party, but apparently not enough to have kept Harris out, which is really interesting. I think the one thing that the establishment was only really truly united on was keeping Bernie Sanders out. Apparently everything else was up in the air. And what's interesting too is here we are, Obama calling Jim Clyburn, okay? Again with the Clyburn call, because this happened in 2020 as well. In the way to try to stop Bernie Sanders, Obama gives a call to Clyburn and says, well, hey, look, we got to beat Bernie Sanders, okay? And then gave a call to pretty much everybody else, okay, that was in that race and said, you need to drop out of the race and endorse Joe Biden, all right? We got to stop Bernie. We've got to stop him. And they did. Now, this time, however, this was to stop Kamala Harris. And he failed. And look, I'm going to be completely honest with you about this, okay? I believed at the time that going with Kamala Harris made some sense. Why? Well, obviously, Joe Biden wasn't going to win. And I didn't believe at the time that there was enough for a robust primary to pick a really good, candidate. I think had Joe Biden bowed out earlier, things would have been better, okay? But he didn't, and that really, really hurt. Any candidate coming out of that would have had a hard time. But Harris, I think, made her job that much more difficult, okay? Now, I also had made the argument that, hey, look, Harris is going to get the war chest, and that's a lot of money. They're going to need it for ads. And so, yeah, that makes sense. But I was wrong. Of course, I was wrong. And I actually do wish we had listened to Obama and had a mini primary or an open convention, because I think that way we would have actually had a stronger candidate. Now, not only that, but look, if Harris had not run as Republican light, if she had been able to keep that energy that she had after picking Walls, and was able to distance herself from Biden enough, then she might have actually been much more successful. Okay? Because maybe she would have actually won. Because I remember all the energy surrounding the Harris campaign right after she was, the Biden had dropped out. Okay, we've got a chance now. Things are going to get better. And some of the polls started to reflect that. Okay? That said, she made some mistakes that destroyed that energy. Okay? Her political instincts are not good, especially in fighting somebody like Donald Trump. I think economic populism would have helped her campaign a lot. Having big, bold, progressive ideas would have helped a lot. Being able to keep up with that energy that young people were were feeling about the campaign. I remember people getting coconut pilled everywhere, right? But unfortunately, she lost that. She traveled with Liz Cheney. Okay, she talked about her Glock. She talked about we've got such a lethal military, and I think what's really important is she did not distance herself from Biden's support of the Israeli genocide. And so that was an absolute unforced error. It was a disaster, and she got punished for it. That's the issue. But look, she ran the kind of campaign that the establishment wanted her to run. Oh, we're going to get the moderates. We're going to get the anti-Trump Republicans in the suburbs. Back to the old Chuck Schumer quote. Oh, for every, working class person we lose in Pennsylvania, we'll pick up 2 suburban Republicans. Didn't happen because it never happens. They always end up voting for Republicans anyway. So at the end of the day, actually, Barack Obama was correct on this. And it is kind of ironic, too, because Barack Obama is part of the establishment. He did his damnedest to keep a progressive economic populist out of the White House. It was very, very successful. But couldn't get someone in the establishment to beat Donald Trump. So a lot of what we're dealing with right now, in my opinion, is not just Harris's fault, but it's also the fault of President Joe Biden at the time and former President Barack Obama and the rest of the establishment. There is a lot of blame to go around for the second loss to Donald Trump. And now we're continuing to find out even more and more about it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.